Hello. I haven't made a video in a very long time, or even uploaded one, but I'm back. And last season, in season 4, I made starter item guides, and then like a week later, we found out that starter items were being removed from the game, so I'm back with an updated season 5 one. So, hey. So, this will be the first one. This is for hunters. So, hunters in Conquest will primarily always go Hunter's Blessing, right? Like these three starts right here, guaranteed to always be the ones you get if you're in the Hunter role, in the ADC role, or if you were even in mid, right? If you like play like Ho Yi or even like Chiron in mid, right? You could still get these and you'll do just fine, right? And then down here I have like these three. These are special cases. We'll get to these later. So to begin with, this top one, in my opinion, is probably the worst one. That's only because you get no physical power from it, and even though Morningstar is only 10 and Spike Gauntlet is 5, it still adds up quite a lot in the early game when your auto attacks count for 100% of your physical damage, right? So if you go Hunter's Blessing, Boots, right? Your auto attacks hit for 50, right? If your opponent goes like Hunter's Blessing, Morningstar, their auto attacks are gonna hit for 60. So like, it's like something still minor. Like that 10 health could potentially mean nothing, but it could also potentially mean like that's like another tick off of a health pot that you end up like trading off, you know? So these are the best three hunter starts for Conquest, right? This one you can go if you just want to rush Boots and have that done and out of the way, because Boots is a huge power spike, and they're the cheapest of all the power spikes on here, right? So no matter what, you're always gonna finish Boots first, so you could just rush Boots and then start working on the stacking item, right? For this one, Spike Gauntlet, Devourer's Gauntlet's good and all, but you don't want to get Devourer's Gauntlets first, if that makes sense. So you want to get Hunter's Blessing, Spike Gauntlet, back when you have enough money for Boots, then go and get enough money for Devourer's Gauntlets. You don't want to finish Devourer's Gauntlets, and that's because if your opponent gets Boots before you, they're going to have more movement speed, and they're going to have more power than you, and they're going to have more attack speed, depending on which Boots they go, right? If they go attack speed Boots, you have more power, they have more attack speed, but if they go the Warrior Boots, you lose out on more power, so it's just not a good trade-off. And plus, they're faster than you, so they can catch you. And if you're an immobile character like Artemis or Scotty, you're not getting away from like a Rom who has Boots, right? Like you're dead. There's nothing to say about it, right? Same thing with Transcendence. Transcendence though isn't as mandatory as it was in the beginning of season 5. So right now you pretty much only go Transcendence on like your ability based hunters, right? Like you're looking at Neith, Medusa, Chiron, Uller, those type of gods, but you can still go Spike Gauntlet on those gods, right? You could still get Devos on those gods too. Devos is better for the late game, Transcendence is better for the mid game, Boots is good for the early game. Boots is good all game, don't get me wrong, but the power spikes, that's when they usually spike, right? Like once Devos is like maybe like at, I want to say 30 stacks or so, then you start hitting harder, you start getting more from the life steal when it's like halfway stacked. But same thing with Transcendence. Transcendence is a good power spike, but not early on, and that is because it stacks off of your mana, right? In the early game you don't have much mana, right? You still get 300 from Transcendence, that's good and dandy and stuff, but you still want to have more mana when you get it, like obviously. Like let's look at Kernabog. Let's change, oh fuck, that's not what I wanted. Can I just change you to 1? No, not 12, 1, right? So at level 12, Kernabog has 284 mana, right? I don't know how much that comes out to be, but I'm gonna be real with you, 3% of that probably not good, okay? So like 300, 3% is like what, 10%? So like, wait, 3% of 300 would be like 10, and that's less than that, so it'd probably come out to like 9 or so, right? But you're not going to be level 1 when you get it. You'll probably be like level 7. Oh, or level 20. No, that's fine. No, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. It's not worth it. The power is not good on it. And I know it's common to rush tier 2 Transcendence, but again, the power spike from it's not that good, right? you're gonna want boots before you get that, because you like movement speed. Yes, you have a bunch of damage and cooldown reduction, but it's not as good as just boots, if that makes sense. Boots is broken on hunters, or pretty much anyone right now. Boots is always gonna be good no matter what. It's too cheap for what it gives you. So for this build, you can go on any hunter. This build, you're looking at like your auto attack based hunters: Rom, Artemis, Shibalanke, Medusa can get it, Hachiman, gods like that. This one, you're looking at more of your ability based hunters, right? So like Uller, Neith, Chiron, those gods. Kernobog, I would still recommend Devour's Gauntlets, and that's because he does have an attack speed stim. And he focuses more on his auto attacks, despite him having a bunch of burst and him taking up a lot of mana. You still want Devour's Gauntlets, trust me. Health potions, obviously, and multi-pots instead of mana pots, because if you know what you're doing and you can conserve your mana, this gives you 10 MP5. That's a lot of MP5 in the early game, right? So you shouldn't need mana pots. You can sustain off of just these by yourself, and Hunter's Blessings MP5. You should be fine with that. Okay, so now let's get into like the weird cases, right? So this pretty much, in my opinion, is only good on Jingwei, and that's because Jingwei can just back and go finish Devour's Gauntlets. And I know I said, well, rushing Devil's Gloves is just bad. Well, Jingwei can get away with it though, because Jingwei, if she gets pressured out, she can just back and be back the next wave, right? That's like her good point, right? Like that's like her selling point. Like you can outfarm pretty much everyone if you play well enough with Jingwei, which is why I love her. So maybe you could get it with Hachiman just because of his passive, where he gets more mana and stuff, but I still wouldn't even get it on Hachiman. I think that this is only good on Jingwei. You don't get, like, you can't trade with Jingwei in the early with this, though, if they go Hunter's Blessing, right? But I think that this is only, like I said, only good on Jingwei. You shouldn't do it on anyone else. Everyone else pretty much sucks with this start. Even Jingwei's iffy with it, just because, like I said, you can't trade with it, right? And then this is pretty much, like, if you were going pure ability based, I wouldn't recommend this in the Hunter role, like the ADC role. I would recommend this more in, like, the mid lane, when you're just trying to burst down the enemy mage and stuff like that. Mage's Blessing gives you more ability damage, which is always a good thing when you're in the mid lane, because you want that, like, burst, And then Morningstar, because you're going to be getting Transcendence. But it's the same thing as, like, these builds up here. You don't get Transcendence first. You get boots and then go back to Transcendence. And then this is just with Attacker's Blessing in any other game mode that isn't Conquest. So you'll get Attacker's Blessing, one of these three, and then healing or multi-pots. You could even go mana pots with this, because you can't sustain with Attacker's Blessing like you could with Hunter's Blessing. So it comes down to how you play. Hachiman, though, I still recommend getting multi-pots, because Hachiman's passive. But if you're anyone else, you can always just get mana pots. So I believe that's it. I think that's all I want to talk about. If you guys have any recommendations or any other starts, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!